So Fire Emblem 16 has finally been announced and it's going to be called Fire Emblem The Three Houses. Now this makes me pretty excited as the three houses is talking about the three main royals that we'll probably see in the game. Now there are three crests shown on the map to represent these three houses, and this makes me excited for a more politically driven storyline as we haven't really seen this much emphasis on the royals even before the game has come out. Obviously I'm going to start out with talking about the trailer. Now we see a big map that has a lot of small little named locations on the map, and this is clearly too many locations to fit into one game. So what I see this as is that we will get 10 to 15 locations that we actually visit in the game, but all the other ones will merely be mentioned in support conversations or anything else, and we won't actually visit most of them. This does open up for a sequel if this game does sell really well. And I really hope it does. The game actually looks pretty good from what little we've seen of it so far. Actually, only 2 minutes 14 seconds of it, actually. Now, the next thing we hear about is the Mother of the Land, or the Dragon God, like we see in other games like Shadows of Valentia with Mila and Duma. And this one is currently unnamed. Now, what's important to talk about is the goddess is not actually in the realm of Fodlan. She actually is above, and therefore we probably will not see her in any of these trailers. I'm assuming her appearing will be reserved as a key plot point, which we really don't want to see in trailers. Think of something similar to Duma in Shadows of Valentia. Now, what's being narrated over here is actually pretty interesting. It says the Saros, which I'm assuming is the dragon that we saw in this trailer, was given a gift by the goddess, which we know is Naga. So we clearly see that these crests that are talked about in the trailer are from Naga herself. And the only other crests that we see from the goddess are usually just weapons. So the three crests being talked about by Adelgard in the trailer are probably legendary weapons. However, there is a possibility of them being something else. It is a new Fire Emblem and we're only making predictions based on the past. Now this green-haired lady that we see in the trailer while this narration is being done seems pretty important. I want to say that we do see a soldier come and protect her and die for her cause every single time somebody attacks her. This could be a preview of the formation command that we see later on in the trailer and the armies that we see, but it could just be a cinematic thing. And there is the name of the game, Fire Emblem The Three Houses. Now if you're confused about the title, houses are actually royal families that rule over the kingdoms. And judging by the title, it seems like we're going to have a story about 3 different kingdoms that have a royal family each. And this is why I think the game is going to be much more political and old school, kind of like Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, with the realms that we see at war with each other. Quickly after this, we get our first view at the gameplay. We're looking at a similar perspective to Path of Radiance, so we are going with that type of gameplay style. I want to point out that the HUD looks very clean. There's no clutter anywhere, and there's only simple designs decorating Adelgard's nameplate. Seeing that Adelgard is only level 3 and she is wielding a steel axe makes me think that she is going to be sort of a pre-promote character. Usually we don't see characters come in with steel weapons, we usually only see iron or bronze weapons. Once again, this is just me trying to make predictions based off the information we have from previous games. This could just be a special thing that this game is doing. Now another thing to point out is the red lines we see when Adelgard is selected. Now people have come up with many theories about this, but we're not too sure, and a lot of these lines throw off what we know so far. A lot of people are speculating supports, like a certain character could be helping another character, but that wouldn't make sense because Adelgard actually has red arrows leading to 2 different characters. A lot of people are also saying that this could be the people she can attack, but that wouldn't make sense because there should be a 3rd red line reaching to the person on the right, and it also just wouldn't make sense. Why would they add red lines to show which characters you can attack? There must be some reason that we don't know, and it might have to relate to the formation and the armies that we see in each character. So what we see when she runs up to Mercedes here is that she can do 3 different types of attacks. We have the normal attack command using her weapons, we have magic, and then we have combat arts. Now what's interesting about the magic command is that there is no tome in her inventory. And since she's selecting an enemy character, this isn't some sort of healing spell. So it seems like the aristocrat class, which Adelgard is, can wield both weapons such as axes, swords, and magic. This is a heavy indicator that Adelgard is one of the main characters, which we pretty much know by now. We do also see the formation command, but we'll talk about it later. And now we come to weapon selection. We see Adelgard is wielding a steel and an iron sword and axe, and she seems to have some sort of banner above her pixel icon. Now this is probably just showing what house she's from. And she is an aristocrat, a wealthy but not royal. Now under battle data, we do see the normal stats, but we also see AS, END, and RSL. AS is likely attack speed, and thanks to the people at Cernus Forest, we've seen that END and RSL is endurance and resilience, which could be the defense and resistance, but we're not too sure. Next we see the battle forecast. Seems pretty normal, nothing really too out of place here. Now what we see is that Mercedes does have a unique name, unique portrait, but no unique character model. She's the exact same as the priest standing next to her. And the next scene we see does confirm this. Mercedes' model is the same as any other person around her. We do see the armies again, which once again we have absolutely no idea what they are about. And we do see a cool animation with the Delgard kind of swirling her axe behind her. I don't know, just cool stuff we see around. Next we see battle animations from Dimitri and Claude. Dimitri is wielding lances, and it looks like Claude is going to be an archer. I gotta say, this does look really weird. Dimitri looks like Clive, but Claude sounds like Clive. It just seems like they've been misplaced. And next we see a really laggy cutscene. God, I wish these don't return. The people making the animation are the exact same as Shadows of Valentia, and even Shadows of Valentia had animation problems. It looks beautiful, but low FPS is my bane. I'd rather have an okay looking cutscene with good FPS like Awakening and Fates had, rather than a beautiful looking cutscene that is low on FPS like this one we see here. And now we hear Adelgar talking about the crests that were placed in each house. She says that many believe that the crests are important to maintain order, but she personally believes that they're to blame for whatever is going on in this gameplay. Now this reminds me incredibly about Shadows of Valentia's story. Spoiler alert if you haven't played, because I'm going to reveal the main villain's intention. Emperor Rudolf, father of Alm Albine, wants to remove the world from the gods. He personally himself seals Mila away and wants to destroy Duma while he can. He sets a plan into motion to let Alm be the one to kill Duma. And this theme that we saw from that game, where we rebel against the gods, seems to be something similar that we're seeing in this game. Once again, I want to mention, this game seems to be taking a lot from Shadows of Valentia, and I truly can't be happier. If we exclude map design, Shadows of Valentia had great gameplay and a great story. There was so much ambition put behind the voices, and everything was so good. It doesn't seem like we're getting the same type of voice acting from here, but the story seems just about as ambitious. And the gameplay of Shadows of Valentia being combined with the gameplay of Fates and Awakening and the older Fire Emblem games, I just can't wait for this game. There's so much to talk about in this story, with the three houses rebelling against the gods, what the crests mean, what the goddess is doing, what is the little dragon girl at the end, what does all this mean. There's so much to talk about, so much to learn. This trailer left many questions for us, and I actually can't wait to find out what everything is about. Anyways, we continue to the gameplay. Adelgard is selected in some sort of new view mode. This mode zooms in so much that we can actually see all the soldiers that are with each character. Once again, we see the red lines pop up on a character that is not even selected by whoever is controlling. And we see a weird yellow-orangish arrow pointing at Byleth, who seems to be the avatar character of this game. And once Byleth is selected, it seems to be pointing back at Adelgard. But once Byleth is actually selected, we see whoever is controlling point it to the enemies in front of him. And it goes into the battle forecast and then into the battle. There is clearly some sort of support system or something in play here, but it's not exactly clear why Byleth and Delgard point at each other and why the cursor is yellow color. Previously, we've seen supports being represented with a pink color, so this is quite different. We don't know what this means, and we'll just have to find out when the game comes out. And now we continue to see Byleth exploring the area, which seems to be very reminiscent of Shadows of Valentia's dungeon crawling mechanics. And then we see him telling Adelgard which weapon to train. I'm not going to go over it, many other people have already gone over it, I'm sure you already know enough about it. And now we see the same green lady holding some sort of divine weapon. I can only assume this is one of the crests of the houses. This is what's leading me to believe she's one of the royals of one of the houses that we see on the map. Why else would she have such a divine looking weapon in her hand? And the way she's grasping the weapon, while having mud stains on her clothing and her helmet, seems like this is what the battle we saw before was being fought for. Talking about this just brings up more questions than we have answers for, so I'm gonna move on, but there is a lot of lore implications here. And now we see a more full-fledged version of the formation command. They create a triangle formation and charge through the enemy that does not seem to have a formation. Now, having the triangle face forward while Dimitri's at the back and charging, it seems like this is a more of an offensive formation. This also raises some questions whether there'll be defensive formations, and we can only assume so. With the effort that goes into each gimmick of each generation, such as pair up, such as shove, such as rescue, we can only assume there will be a lot more effort put into what a formation is and what it does. Needless to say, I think we can trust intelligence systems. They clearly know what they're doing and they have a right idea for this game. I don't think they can mess this up. And we see the supposed main villain of the game. Now, he has possibilities of being one of the houses, which would assumably have his own crest. And the whip weapon he uses might be one of those crests? Once again, we have no clue, this is just speculation. It's just the emphasis that's being put on the whip and how it's wiping out so many soldiers. It's truly trying to make you think that it is a legendary weapon, which is why I think it might be one of the crests. Next you see Claude taking out some sort of animatronic. And tell me this doesn't remind you of Nier Automata, that beautiful whatever boss fight that was in the amusement park. I'm truly getting Nier Automata vibes from this, whatever it is, boss or training bot, we don't know. Next we see the Avatar character in some sort of lava land performing a critical strike. Now basically we have grasslands, we have some sort of hills, we have some sort of lava level confirmed for this game. And the last scene we see is some sort of mannequin sitting on some sort of throne while either a Delgard or some other girl talks about not being forgotten. Now the reason why I think it is a Delgard talking is because the snooze that the mannequin makes at the end sounds nothing like the voice we hear. Man, I don't know what is about this scene, but the green flare we see throughout the scene with the dark edges reminds me a lot of seeing Milla's skull on the floor like we saw in Shadows of Valentia. There is a lot being borrowed from Shadows of Valentia, and the vibe seems the same from each and every cutscene. I actually can't wait to play this game. There's so much that I want to know more about. All I can hope is that they continue releasing trailers on a consistent basis. Hopefully we see another trailer next month, or maybe some gameplay 5 months from now, something along those lines. I just want to see what this game is about. There's so much hype building up for this game. Anyways, that's my analysis. I just wanted to have it out somewhere, and I didn't know how to do it, so I'm deciding to make it a video while practicing my video editing skills. It's just going to be a side project that I do for the summer, but if you do like what I'm doing, I would recommend subscribing. I'm going to continue making this stuff. This game has me hyped, and I don't want to miss out on any information. Yeah, and I think that's everything I have to talk about, so I'm just going to end it off.